Welcome to Wilton Town Talks. I'm Nate.
I'm Ian.
And this is Fire Chief Blanchfield. So, what
Thanks for
got you
having me
into
here.
Yeah, what got you into being a fire chief or a firefighter?
Sure. Nate, I will tell you that with respect to emergency services, I didn't come from an emergency services family like a lot you see second, third generation. But I started as a volunteer in the town I was living in forever ago. And it just seemed like I loved it so much, so I just seemed like a natural progression. And my wife and her family were all police officers, so it just worked out very well. So that's how I got started with it.
Nice. What goes into like the training of a fire?
Sure.
fighter?
So from an entry-level firefighter, at least with Wilton, we require certain things in order to even apply for the department. But we look for if someone has their EMT certification already, maybe they have their the specific driving license to drive a fire truck. We can teach those things, but it's nice if we see that coming in, and a few other items. And then once an offer is made to employment, we either send them to the State Fire Academy, which is 16 weeks of training, or we do it in-house for an abbreviated period of time. And it's things just like you would think of. Air pack use, ladders, EMT skills, all those things. And so that's how we end up training a new firefighter.
What age do you need to be to become a firefighter?
For Wilton, it's 18
Okay.
is when you could apply to 18 years old.
What exactly do you do on a day-by-day basis?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, it was, so I started in Wilton as an entry-level firefighter, bottom rung. And that's a great job. So then you're driving the fire trucks, you're going to the scene, you're helping people. Really, I don't think of it's just one of the best careers that you can have. Now that I'm in the chief's position, it's a little bit different. My day-to-day changes every single day depending on what happened the day before, what meetings I have to go to. If it's a fire scene I go to, I typically go to the bigger calls. So your bigger car accidents, your hazardous material incidences where you do have a release of a hazardous material, obviously your structure fires. But and a lot of the rest of it's meetings and putting different sorts of things together for the shifts. Double checking the training calendars, things of that nature. So that's what I do now. Do I miss driving the fire trucks and doing that? Absolutely.
How many firefighters do you currently have on staff?
Oh, it's a good question. So we have presently on each shift, not counting the chief or the deputy chief, we have 6 firefighters on 3 of our 4 shifts, and we have 7 firefighters on our 4th shift. We'll be increasing one of the other shifts to 7 in a couple of months. And then the hope is to get a few more down the road. The town is growing. We're getting more calls and things of that nature, so we're trying to meet those demands with staffing.
How many calls do you normally get on any given day?
That's a tough question. So it changes. There's no day-to-day in the life of a firefighter. We could have a day where there's only 2 or 3 calls that come in, but then we can have a day like yesterday where I think we were around 20. But you have to remember in those days, they still have to do mandatory training. They still have got to do, we do a lot of going out to the new construction to make sure we understand it. They have to go over their procedures. There's housework, there's physical fitness. So it's a full day.
So what is like the best fire safety tip you can give to any house owner in Wilton?
Sure. So for a residential household, I would say the best tip I would say to first of all, make sure you have smoke detectors. Every floor, and I think the new law is in every bedroom, has to have one. And then make sure that you check them and those batteries are working. Twice a year is when you're supposed to check them. They do a lot of public safety announcements with respect to that. But that's the number 1 tip I could give homeowners. Number 2 would be, even though you didn't ask me for 2, make sure you know what your plan is in case that there's a fire. So everybody needs to know where to go if there's a fire or there's smoke. And it could be meet at the mailbox, meet across the street. Make sure everybody knows that. So those are my top 2.
Okay. What is the most common cause of a house fire that you see most often?
The common cause, there's a collection of those with respect to that. It may be unattended candles. It may be electrical problems. It could be a lightning strike. I wouldn't say I have a number 1. There's a whole host of things that can cause a house or a business to start on fire.
Are house fires the most common call?
No. The most common call that we have, all Wilton firefighters, in addition to being certified firefighters, are also certified EMTs. So half our calls are actually medical calls in town. So, heart attacks, difficulty breathing, those are half our calls. That's pretty typical with most career fire departments. And then the rest of them, it's a whole host of different things. You'd be surprised at how many hazmat calls we go to. Smell of gas, natural gas, propane, oil leaks. Hazardous materials are bad. We really try to make sure, contain it, and then you don't want, certainly don't want it to get in any waterways or things like that. So,
Yeah.
common one, it's a tough answer.
Do you and do the firefighters and the police force ever hang out, or do they mesh or anything, or what's the relationship there?
You hear, anecdotally that they don't get along. It is not true in the town of Wilton. Not only do we train together, so we train together. We've just recently had some training for active aggressor training. We do that every single year together. The fire department has its role in those events, police department. So we have a good relationship in the town of Wilton, and a lot of it stems from joint training events. The chief of the police and myself meet all the time, probably talk to each other every day, and then so we have a good relationship, and there is a little bit of a esprit de corps with the departments in town.
Is that new fire police building, is that shared between the firefighters, or is that just a police building?
That's just police building. There's one part of it that's shared for the town. They have what's called the Emergency Operations Center, the EOC. So whenever there's a major emergency in Wilton, if you think about the floods from last year, we open the EOC and we bring in, you'll have somebody representing from just about every department in there working out the plans, working out it. But otherwise, it's a police building.
How often do you use the EOC?
Not a lot, which is good. But it's interesting as you bring that up, because literally the state of Connecticut, each year, they require every community to do a training event, and they run it. So it was just last week that we opened up the EOC in the old police building and ran through a full event. And this year's theme was drought, wildfires, and big impact on a town. So we had environmental affairs in there. We had public works, police, fire, EMS, CERT, all of us in there trying to work through the problems.
Nice. Do you have any things you'd like to add as we come into a...
I would ask that anybody, with respect to your audience, take home fire safety seriously. It's important. I know we start, bringing the young kids into school, and you hear about the stop, drop, and roll and those sorts of things. But fire safety stays with you with the whole life, and just, be cognizant of those sorts of things. I think it's important. So that's what I would leave on.
Well, nice meeting you. Thank you for coming out here.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me talk today. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.